Have you ever looked up at the end of the week and wondered, what just happened? Like time slipped through your fingers again. You woke up every morning with good intentions, but somehow the days blurred into each other. Tasks piled up. Your thoughts were scattered. And no matter how hard you tried to stay on top of things, it always felt like you were one step behind. You're not alone. Most people live this way, not because they're lazy, and not because they don't care, but because they've never been taught the habits that build real structure, real peace, and real momentum. We fall into the trap of reaction mode, responding to emails before coffee, rushing through routines, letting the noise of the world dictate our pace, and then wondering why we feel disconnected from our purpose. But here's what the Stoics knew, and what most of us have forgotten in today's world of endless notifications and mental clutter. Outer chaos doesn't have to mean inner chaos. You could be standing in the middle of a storm and still have calm inside your chest. Because real control doesn't come from perfect circumstances, it comes from practiced principles. The kind you return to, day after day, quietly, consistently. Seneca once wrote, "If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable." Direction, discipline, clarity, these things don't happen by accident. They're built, habit by habit. And that's exactly what this video is about. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 7 Stoic-inspired habits. They're simple, not complicated. They're practical, not fluffy hacks. And most of all, they're time-tested. Practices that helped philosophers like Marcus Aurelius lead empires and can help you take back your time, your energy, and your mind. So, if you've been feeling scattered, stuck, or just plain tired of living on autopilot, you're in the right place. We're not here for motivation that fades in a day. We're here for transformation that compounds over time. One habit at a time. One choice at a time. Let's get started. Let's be honest. Most people don't start their day. They react to it. The alarm goes off, and before they've even taken a full breath, they're checking emails, scrolling headlines, or rushing to beat the clock. No intention, no anchor. Just chaos. From the moment they open their eyes. But here's something the Stoics understood deeply. Your morning isn't just a time of day. It's a mindset. It's your first and best chance to lead your life, rather than be dragged by it. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world at the time, reminded himself, "You were born to act, not to lie under warm blankets." That wasn't about guilt. It was about remembering his purpose. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. and run marathons. Start small. Wake up just 30 minutes earlier than usual. And in that quiet pocket of time, do one thing that matters to you. Journal a thought, stretch your body, sit in silence. Because once you take ownership of your morning, the rest of the day can't push you around so easily. You've already won the first battle. And we live so much in our heads, always chasing clarity, productivity, focus as if they're purely mental things. But here's a truth most people overlook. Your mind won't feel clear if your body feels drained. You can't think straight when your back aches. You can't stay calm when your nervous system is fried. And you definitely can't lead your life when you feel like you're dragging yourself uphill. The Stoics knew this long before science ever backed it up. Seneca practiced cold plunges and fasting, not for show, but for self-mastery. Epictetus, born into slavery and walking with a limp, taught that the body must be trained not out of vanity, but to serve the mind. Because movement is mindset. Even a short walk, a set of push-ups, or a deep stretch can shift your entire state. It's not about six-pack abs. It's about feeling capable again. Plato once said, "Lack of activity destroys the good condition of every human being." And he wasn't talking about appearances. He was talking about spirit, that fire inside you that flickers when you move and fades when you don't. So, how are you moving today? Your mind is rarely quiet. Even when the room is silent, there's a conversation happening inside. Thoughts looping, doubts replaying, to-do lists multiplying, and sometimes it feels like you're carrying all of it with nowhere to put it down. That's where journaling comes in. Not as a cute trend, not as another thing to perfect, but as a practice, a place to sort through the noise, a place to hear yourself think, honestly. The Stoic philosopher Seneca used to write letters to a friend, but in truth, those were letters to himself. They were check-ins, moments of reflection, a daily pause to ask, what am I really feeling? What am I avoiding? And the beauty of journaling? You don't need to write a novel. You don't need fancy prompts. Just one line of truth. One sentence that gets the weight off your chest. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Writing is how you bring those thoughts into the light so you can shape them, challenge them, and move forward with clarity. So I'll ask, what would your mind say if you gave it a place to speak? Let's talk about something we all do but rarely admit out loud. Procrastination. Not the lazy kind, not the I'll do it after lunch kind, but the deeper kind, the quiet avoidance of that one task we know we should face. The phone call we haven't made, the email that's been sitting in drafts, the project that's been haunting the back of our mind. We delay it, not because we're incapable, but because it demands something of us. A decision, a change, a risk. And deep down, that scares us more than we like to admit. Seneca, the great Stoic thinker, said, "While we wait for life, life passes." The uncomfortable truth is this: procrastination isn't just wasting time, it's wasting courage. And the only way to break that cycle is to do the thing. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, today. So here's your challenge. Pick one thing you've been avoiding, just one, and take action on it right now while you're still watching this video. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. And that small act of bravery, it just might change everything. We celebrate hustle. We glorify late nights. But here's the quiet truth no one likes to talk about. You can't outwork your biology. You can eat clean, exercise daily, read every self-help book on the shelf, but if you're not sleeping well, all of it slowly starts to fall apart. Not dramatically, not all at once, but piece by piece. Your energy, your focus, your clarity, they fade. Seneca said it best. The mind must be given rest, so it may rise renewed and sharper after a break. Sleep isn't indulgence. It's not laziness. It's strategy. It's the foundation of every decision, every emotion, every ounce of discipline you hope to build. And the key? It's not just the hours you get, it's how you enter them. Turn down the lights. Close the laptop. Create a simple wind-down ritual. A few quiet pages from a book, a moment of journaling, or just stillness with your thoughts. Because the day doesn't truly begin with your alarm, it begins the night before. Rest is not a reward. It's preparation. Most people walk into their day expecting everything to go right. And when it doesn't, when the meeting runs late, the traffic piles up, or the plan falls apart, they unravel. But the Stoics saw the world differently. They practiced something called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. It wasn't negativity. It wasn't pessimism. It was preparation. You see, they understood something we often forget. Life doesn't interrupt your path. It is the path, the challenge, the setback, the inconvenience. They're not detours from your purpose. They shape it. They reveal who you are when things don't go your way. Think about it. We train our bodies for strength, but how often do we train our minds for turbulence? This simple Stoic habit is like mental weightlifting. Spend just 5 minutes each morning asking, what could go wrong today? And more importantly, how will I respond if it does? Your flight might get delayed. A client might cancel. Someone might criticize your work. Okay, then what? Play the scenario out calmly, like a chess move. Not because you want it to happen, but because you don't want it to control you if it does. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens that disturbs you, but your judgment about it. When you expect life to flow perfectly, every ripple feels like a failure. But when you train for storms, you meet them with stillness. You don't panic, you pivot. And that, right there, is a quiet kind of power most people never develop. So, how will you train your mind today? There's a truth we all know, but rarely dare to face. We're not here forever. Not because it's morbid, not because it's tragic, but because it's real. And sometimes, that's exactly what we need to remember, not to fear death, but to sharpen life. The Stoics had a phrase for this: memento mori. Remember, you must die. Not as a warning, but as a wake-up call. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, and say, and think." He wasn't being dramatic. He was being honest. Because when we carry that awareness, really carry it, something in us changes. We stop wasting time on petty arguments. We stop holding back words that matter. We stop waiting for the perfect time to begin. Instead, we start living. We speak up. We forgive. We build. We love fully, imperfectly, and with urgency. And maybe that's what makes this life so meaningful. Not because it lasts forever, but because it doesn't. So if there's something on your heart, a project you've delayed, a person you've been meaning to reach out to, a truth you've been afraid to speak, do it today. Not because the clock is ticking out of fear, but because this moment is yours. And that makes it sacred. Let's take a breath together. We've walked through a lot. And if there's one thing I hope you take away from this, it's this: your life isn't meant to be lived on autopilot. You were not born just to react, to chase the clock, to run from task to task until your head hits the pillow. You were born to lead, starting with yourself. Not through grand gestures, but through small, intentional choices. The way you wake up, the way you move, the way you slow your mind through writing, or choose action over avoidance. The way you rest not as a break from the grind, but as preparation for what matters most. The way you anticipate life's curveballs calmly, like a strategist. And yes, even the way you carry the weight of your own mortality, not with fear, but with presence. That's what Stoicism offers us. Not cold logic, not detachment, but a way of moving through the world with clarity, with courage, and with heart. And here's the thing, you don't have to master all 7 habits tomorrow. You don't need a perfect journal, a flawless morning routine, or a monk-like discipline. All you need is to begin. Maybe you set your alarm 30 minutes earlier and give yourself time to breathe. Maybe you move your body today just to remind yourself that you're still alive. Maybe you write one honest sentence. Maybe you finally send that message. Maybe you turn off your phone early tonight and honor your rest. Whatever it is, let it be yours. Let it be simple. Let it be real. Let it be the beginning of something quieter, but stronger. Because momentum is not built in one day. It's built daily. And that's why we return to these ideas. Not once, but again and again. Not to be perfect, but to become more present, more steady, more you. You're not here to live a life that rushes by. You're here to live a life that's felt deeply, clearly, with intention. So, before this video ends, pause. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today that future me will thank me for? Then do it. Because the smallest choice, when made with purpose, can shift the entire direction of your life. And that's not just stoicism, that's wisdom, that's power, that's freedom. Thank you for being here, and for showing up for yourself. If this video moved you, there's more where this came from. Check out the next one, and keep walking this path of purpose with us. See you soon.